The Angry Princess. In the Grand Kingdom of Velmora, there lived a princess named Aurora. She was admired for her beauty and intelligence, but despite her many gifts, she had one terrible flaw: her temper. If her breakfast was late, she would yell at the cooks. If her dress had the slightest wrinkle, she would scold her maids. Even the chirping of birds outside her window in the early morning would set her off. Her anger became so famous that the people of Velmora whispered about her behind closed doors. Even the royal guards, trained to be fearless, grew nervous in her presence. The king and queen were deeply troubled. They knew their daughter would one day rule the kingdom, but a queen who could not control her emotions would lead with fear, not wisdom. One evening, after a particularly loud outburst over a slightly burnt piece of bread, the queen sat beside Aurora and sighed. "My dear, you must learn to control your anger," she said gently. "A ruler must be patient and wise, not quick to wrath." Aurora crossed her arms. "Then people should stop annoying me," she muttered. The king exchanged a look with the queen. They needed help. The very next day, an old man arrived at the palace. He was Master Cedric, a wise teacher from the mountains, known for helping even the most stubborn rulers find wisdom. "I have come with a challenge for the princess," he announced. "If she can complete it, she will learn something valuable." Aurora, always eager to prove herself, smirked. "A challenge? That sounds easy. What must I do?" Cedric handed her a cup, filled to the brim with water. "Walk around the palace 3 times without spilling a single drop," he instructed. "If you succeed, you will gain a lesson greater than any treasure." Aurora rolled her eyes. "That's all? This will be simple." She grabbed the cup and started walking. She strode confidently through the halls, the cup balanced in her hands. But as she rounded the first corner, a servant carrying a basket of apples accidentally brushed against her shoulder. Water sloshed over the edge. "Fool!" Aurora snapped, her face flushing red. "Watch where you're going." Cedric, who had been watching from a distance, shook his head. "You failed," he said simply. "Try again." Aurora clenched her fists. "Fine, I'll do it again." This time she held the cup tighter and walked more carefully. Halfway through her second lap, a sudden gust of wind blew through an open window, sending a swirl of dust into the air. It tickled her nose, making her eyes water. "Ugh!" she groaned, squeezing the cup in frustration. She stomped her foot, and once again water spilled over the edge. Cedric sighed. "You failed again. Try once more." Aurora gritted her teeth. How could something so simple be so difficult? Determined, she refilled the cup and took a deep breath. This time, she walked slower. She focused. She held the cup steadily, keeping her steps light and controlled. As she neared the place where the servant had bumped into her, she noticed him coming from the other side. Instead of marching forward impatiently, she stepped aside and let him pass. When the wind blew again, she ignored it and kept walking, steady as a river. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, she finished the third lap. She looked down. The water was still in the cup. Not a single drop had spilled. Aurora's eyes widened in shock. She had done it. Master Cedric smiled. "Tell me, Princess, what did you do differently this time?" Aurora thought for a moment. I didn't rush. I stayed calm. I focused on the cup instead of everything around me." Cedric nodded. "Exactly. When you let anger control you, you lose focus and make mistakes. But when you stay patient, you handle things with grace." Aurora's heart swelled with understanding. For the first time, she realized that her anger had been spilling out like the water, causing trouble not just for herself, but for everyone around her. From that day on, whenever she felt her temper rising, she remembered the challenge of the water cup. She took a deep breath, steadied her thoughts, and chose patience. Over time, she became known not as the angry princess, but as the wise and patient queen, beloved by her people for her calm and fair rule. Anger is like a full cup of water. If we react too quickly, we spill it, losing our peace. But if we stay calm and steady, we keep control and handle things wisely. Next time you feel anger rising, pause, breathe, and choose patience. You will find that life becomes much easier to handle. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories.